Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashoda Nandana Bhaja Jana Randana Yashoda Nandana Bhaja Jana Randana Yamuna Tera Vanachari Yamuna Tera Vanachari Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Jaya Vishnupada Paramahamsa Parivajikacharya Asto Tarasati Śrīmad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada ki Ananda Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Kantaraj Śrīmad Bhāgavatam ki jai, Nitai Gaura Premanandi Haribo Namah Vishwadaya Krishna Padaya Swami Bhagavata Namah Namah Vishwadaya Swami Bhagavata Swami Chanamani Namaste. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we are reading from the Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, Canto 7, The Science of God. Chapter 3, Prahlad, the saintly son of Hiranyakashipu. Text number 30, is that right? Maybe you could close that door, that's really kind of ugly. Yes, if you see the door open, close it. Yeah, that's nice. Neat. Okay, Sri Prahlad. Oh, this is a very famous verse. Prabhupada quotes this verse often. Matirna Krishna Paratasvatova Mito Bipadyeta Griha Britanam Adanta Gopir Vasatam Tamishram Puna Punascharvita Charananam Sri Paraduvacha Matirna Krishna Paratasvatova Mito Bipadyeta Griha Pratanam Adanta Gopir Visitam Tamishram Puna Punascharvita Charvananam Sri Paraduvacha Matirna Krishna Paratasvatova Mitho Bipadyeta Griha Pratanam Adanta Gopir Visitam Tamishram Puna Punascharvita Charvananam Shri Prahlad. Matirna Krishna Paratasvatova Mito vipadyeta grihavatanam. Adanta gobi visatam tamishram. Punascharvita charvananam. Shri Prahlad Vacha. Materna Krishna Paratasvatova. Mito vipadyeta grihavratanam. Adanta gobir visatam tamishram. Punascha chavananam. Shri Prahlad Vacha. Materna Krishna Paratasvatova. Mito vipadyeta grihavratanam. Adanta gobi visatam tamisram. Punascha chavananam. Ladies. Shri Prahlad Vacha. Materna Krishna Paratasvatova. Mito vipadyeta grihavratanam. Adanta gobir visatam tamishram. Punascha vitacharvananam. Shri Prahlad Vacha. Materna Krishna Paratasvatova. Mito vipadyeta grihavratanam. Adanta gobi visatam tamishram. Punascha vitacharvananam. Shri Prahlad Vacha. Materna Krishna Paratasvatova. Mito vipadyeta grihavratanam. Adanta gobir visatam tamisram. Punascha vitacharvananam. Shri Prahlad Vacha. Prahlad Maharaja said, Mati, inclination. Na, never. Krishna, unto Lord Krishna. Parataha, from the instructions of others. Swataha, from their own understanding. Va, either. Mita, from combined effort. Abhipadyeta, is developed. Griha pratanam, of persons. Too addicted to the materialistic bodily conception of life. Adanta, uncontrolled. Gobhi, by the senses. Vishatam, entering. Tamisram, hellish life. Puna, again. Puna, again. Chavita, things already chewed. Charananam, who are chewing. Prahlad Maharaj replied, because of their uncontrolled senses, persons too addicted to materialistic life make progress toward hellish conditions and repeatedly chew that which has already been chewed. Their inclinations toward Krishna are never aroused, either by the instructions of others, by their own efforts, or by a combination of both. Purport. In this verse, the words Matirna Krishna refer to devotional service rendered to Krishna. So-called politicians, erudite scholars and philosophers who read Bhagavad Gita try to twist some meaning from it to suit their material purposes. But their misunderstandings of Krishna will not yield them any profit. Because such politicians, philosophers and scholars are interested in using Bhagavad Gita as a vehicle for adjusting things materially, for them, constant thought of Krishna or Krishna consciousness is impossible. Matir na Krishna. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 18, text 55, Bhaktya mam abhijanati. Only through devotional service can one understand Krishna as he is. The so-called politicians and scholars think of Krishna as fictitious. The politician says that his Krishna is different from the Krishna depicted in Bhagavad Gita. Even though he accepts Krishna and Rama as the supreme, he thinks of Rama and Krishna as impersonal because he has no idea of service to Krishna. Thus, his only business is punah punaschara vitachara vananam, chewing the chewed again and again. The aim of such politicians and academic scholars is to enjoy this material world with their bodily senses. Therefore, it is clearly stated here that those who are grihabrata, whose only aim is to live comfortably with the body in the material world, cannot understand Krishna. The two expressions, grihabrata and chavitacharvananam, indicate that a materialistic person tries to enjoy sense gratification in different bodily forms, life after life, but is still unsatisfied. In the name of personalism, thisism or thatism, such persons always remain attached to the materialistic way of life, as stated in Bhagavad Gita chapter 2, text 44. Bhoga Aishvarya Prashaktanam Taya Pradita Chetasam Vyavasayatmaka Buddhi Samadhona Vidhiyate. In the minds of those who are too attached to sense enjoyment and material opulence and who are bewildered by such things, the resolute determination for devotional service to the Supreme Lord does not take place. Those who are attached to material enjoyment cannot be fixed in devotional service to the Lord. What is that noise? What is it? A phone? Or just a toy? Toy? No toys, please. There it is again. Hare Krishna. Yeah. Bhagavatams for Bhagavatam hearing. I'll tell you a funny story in a minute. Those who are attached to material enjoyment cannot be fixed in devotional service to the Lord. They cannot understand Bhagavan, Krishna, or his instruction, Bhagavad Gita. Adanta Gopir Visatam Tamishram. Their path actually leads towards hellish life. As confirmed by Rishabdeva, Mahat Sevam Dwaram Ahur Vimukte. One must try to understand Krishna by serving a devotee. The word Mahat refers to a devotee. Mahatmanas tumam parata daivim prakritim asritaha Bhajantyanyanya manaso gyatva bhutadim avyayam. O son of Prita, those who are not deluded, the great souls, are under the protection of the divine nature. They are fully engaged in devotional service because they know me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, original and inexhaustible. Bhagavad Gita chapter 9, text 13. A Mahatma is one who is constantly engaged in devotional service 24 hours a day. As explained in the following verses, unless one adheres to such a great personality, one cannot understand Krishna. Hiranyakashipu wanted to know where Prahlad had gotten this Krishna consciousness. Who had taught him? Prahlad sarcastically replied, "My dear father, persons like you never understand Krishna. One can understand Krishna only by serving a Mahat, a great soul. Those who try to adjust material conditions are said to be chewing the chewed. No one has been able to adjust material conditions, but life after life, generation after generation, people try and repeatedly fail. Unless one is properly trained by a Mahat, a Mahatma, or unalloyed devotee of the Lord, there is no possibility of one's understanding Krishna and his devotional service." Om Jnana Timirandasya Gananjana Salakaya Chakshurun Militam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupakada Mahiyam Tadatisva Padantikam Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangam Langayate Girim Yad Kripa Tamaham Bande Sri Gurum Dinatarinam. So in the previous verses, Hiranyakashipu has chastised Prahlad. And he's asked him, well, actually, he's chastising Sanda and Amaka, the sons of Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. And he wants to know where did Prahlad get this? What does he call it? Oh gosh, look at that. No, let me have a look here. Bhadrasati Mati. Right? Abhadrasati Matahi. And Hiranyakashipu said, where did my son get this inauspicious, very bad inclination? Right? Abhadra asati matihi. Right? And that same word here, matihi, is in this verse. Matir, no, Krishna, right? The inclination towards Krishna. Can't arise in somebody who's addicted basically to material life, material existence. Matirna Krishna. How? From the instructions of others. Parata. From their own efforts, right? From their own understanding, or by a combination of the two. So, Prahlad Maharaj, Hiranyakashipu is asking Prahlad Maharaj, where did you get this Krishna consciousness from? Right? Where did you get this this inclination, this mati? Mati. And basically the answer is, you get this inclination towards Krishna by serving a devotee, right? By rendering service to the, well, actually, and not necessarily only one devotee, but all of the devotees as well, right? In the beginning of the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Krishnadas Kaviraj offers his obeisances to all of his gurus. Vande Gurun. Vande Gurun. And we know there are different types of gurus, right? Different types of devotees. There are devotees who just show us the way, right? The Vatma Pradashika Guru just shows the way to Krishna. And that can be anybody almost. I remember one of the first devotees who preached to me was explained to me the story of how Valmiki was originally a Gunda, right? Plunderer. What's that? Plunderer. Yeah, plunderer. A thief, a rascal, right? But, and it's interesting, whose association did he get? Narada Muni, which is, and we find that throughout the Bhagavatam, Narada Muni's presence, especially here also. Who did Prahlad Maharaj get his inspiration from? Narada Muni, right? Because he was already saintly, right? In the sense that before conception, his father was meditating on Narayan, right? Hiranyakashipu went to the forest, went to the Himalayas to perform austerities, right? To enhance his demonic prowess. That was his purpose for going. And Lord Brahma was disturbed because he was worried about Hiranyakashipu's power and influence, right? And then Narada Muni happened to come, again Narada Muni, right? Narada Muni happened to arrive at his father's abode and was concerned. Why are you worried? Why are you a devotee? He said, a devotee of Govinda, a devotee of Krishna should never be in anxiety, right? Because, Krishna has a plan. So Brahma explained that what his concern was, and so Narada Muni said, don't worry. We'll sort something out. So Hiranyakashipu was preparing to perform his austerities, and Narada Muni turned up with we can't remember who, Parvata Muni, I think it was, as sparrows. Right? They turned up as sparrows, and just as Hiranyakashipu was about to start his meditation, there Narada Muni started singing, right? Om Namo Narayanaya. Right? Huh? This is the last thing that Hiranyakashipu wanted to hear, right? And then again, Om Namo Narayanaya. Right? So this really disturbed Hiranyakashipu even further. And then a third time, Om Namo Narayanaya. And this really had Hiranyakashipu thoroughly agitated, so he got up and reached for his bow and tried to shoot the sparrows, but they'd gone. Right? So Hiranyakashipu was just completely disturbed. Right? Sometimes something happens and it just completely agitates you and you can't think of anything else. Right? So he went home. He's had enough of this, I'm going home. So much for his austerities. Just completely annoyed. And when he came home, his wife was surprised. She was surprised. Because she said, you were supposed to be gone for 10,000 years. How come you're back all of a sudden? And she'd just taken bath after she just had been off the altar, right? So it was at the time that the auspicious time for conception for her. So Hiranyakashipu told her, I heard this. These sparrows. And they were chanting, Om Namo Narayanaya. So he's also chanting, right? He's a demon, but Now what happened? What happened? He got the association of Narada Muni, right? And got to chant. And just by that chanting of the name of the Lord, before the conception of Prahlad Maharaja, attracted such a saintly soul to the womb of Kayadi, is it? I forgot. Kayadi, yeah, his wife, right? And so because of the chanting of the name of Narayan, Hiranyakashipu had the exalted son, Prahlad Maharaja, right? And of course the demigods were again perturbed. Oh no, Hiranyakashipu has a child, and he's going to be a big demon, right? So, long story short, the demigods kidnapped Hiranyakashipu's wife, and they were going to kill her, right? So that the child wouldn't be born. But again, I think Narada Muni persuaded them not to, and she was taken to an ashram. I can't remember the detail. This part of the story I don't have the full details of, but effectively what happened was every day Narada Muni would recite the Bhagavatam to Prahlad's mother, and Prahlad's mother would fall asleep, right? But Prahlad in the womb would hear the pastimes of Krishna. And of course we hear in the Bhagavatam, this is the way of serving the Mahat is to hear from them. Right? First, Srimatam Sva Katha Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana. By hearing, most auspicious activity takes place, and it removes the unwanted things in the heart, abhadrani, right? And implants within the heart that inclination to serve Krishna, right? Matirna Krishna. Amongst the materialists, even if they try to understand, this is the point that Prabhupada's making here, a materialistic mentality won't allow entrance into an understanding of Krishna. And so Prabhupada criticises those who take the Bhagavad Gita and try to analyse it from a materialistic perspective, right? And even they're talking about Krishna, talking about the Bhagavad Gita, because they haven't got the inclination, the service attitude, effectively, right? This is what distinguishes a devotee from a non-devotee, is a service attitude. Which is interesting because look at Bali Maharaj. Bali Maharaj also a demon, right? Bali Maharaj, no, after Prahlad, right? Bali Maharaj is what? Prahlad's grandson, right? Yeah. Interesting again, by association. What was the characteristic, what was the redeeming characteristic of Bali Maharaj? He's a demon, conquered the demigods, practically speaking, took over the whole universe, but what was his redeeming quality? Yeah, yes. What was his redeeming quality, Sibya? Yeah, well, he already answered that. But what is that indicative of? Yeah. Service. Yeah, he was willing to render service. He was convinced, if I render some service to the Lord, then I'll be benefited. Even though, in the end, everything was taken away from him, right? All of his possessions, everything. But he still had that service attitude. So the purport here is, and Prabhupada mentions it in the last couple of paragraphs, and quotes this verse, Mahatmanas tumam parta, Daivim prakritim ashritaha. The Mahatma is, as Prabhupada says in the Bhagavad Gita, a Mahatma cannot be rubber stamped. Right? Can't just create a Mahatma out of nothing. A Mahatma is somebody who is always under the shelter of the spiritual energy. Daivim prakritim ashritaha. Right? And what's their qualifications? Bhajanti ananya manaso. They're always rendering service to Krishna. Ananya means without end, without deviation. Manaso means the mind. Right? Bhajanti, they're always offering bhajan or service to Krishna. And such a person's association is the most desirable, the most attractive, the most valuable possession is to have that association of the devotees. So basically Prahlad is saying to Hiranyakashipu, you'll never you'll never come to Krishna consciousness without the association of a devotee. It's interesting, isn't it, how Hiranyakashipu got the association of Narada Muni, and that's how he got the association of Prahlad Maharaj. And of course he didn't like it. He didn't like it. He's a demon, asura. And the nature or the quality of asuras is that they're inimical to the Lord. They're inimical to the devotees. They're inimical to the process of devotional service. So they can't understand the qualities and the characteristics of the Lord. Even if they get that association, they can't take advantage of it. So, we are fortunate to have the association of the devotees and to be inspired. That's where the mati, the inspiration, the inclination to serve Krishna comes from the association of the devotees. There has to be a little bit of faith. As Sri Chaitanya was mentioning yesterday, a little bit of faith has to be there. Ado shraddha. In the beginning there has to be some faith. That's the distinction between the demon and a devotee. The devotee has a little faith that God exists, that there's order, there's structure, there's purpose in the creation. That it's not a haphazard, ramshackle, by chance affair. But there's a purpose to living, there's a purpose to life. And that purpose is it's not just ahara, nidra, bhaya, maitunum cha, right? It's not just eating, sleeping, mating and defending. They're the activities of the animals. Eating, sleeping, sense enjoyment and fighting or defending. Right? There's just animals do that. And human beings whose only focus and attention is on those things are just like animals, in that there's no appreciation or no inclination, right? This mati. There's no inclination to understand a higher purpose. It's just gross material activities. And there's no, the head is, the brain is so dull that even by good, this is why Krishna says, don't disturb the minds of the ignorant. Right? We have to be careful in our presentation of sometimes it's better just to set a good example, just to be well behaved, than to tell foolish people about things that they can't understand, right? And this is why, one of our main preaching or one of our main proselytizing activities is just chant Hare Krishna, right? Just chant Hare Krishna. So that people just hear the sound vibration of the mantra, and by that sound vibration their hearts will be purified, will be changed. It's a Gyata Sukriti, right? and to wake people up, right? Jeev Jago, Gora Chandra Bole, right? Lord Chaitanya actually demonstrated how to preach, right? Go out on the streets and just chant Hare Krishna. It's pretty hard, right? Pretty hard. But that'll have an impact. That service to Krishna demonstrated by Lord Chaitanya and requested by Lord Chaitanya, very powerful. Because the holy name of the Lord enters within the ears of the listener, and without knowing it, they're engaged in Krishna's service. Right? Without knowing it, they hear the Maha Mantra, they don't know, they think, ooh, what's, or if they're demons, what's that? Right? Used to be it doesn't happen so much these days, but in the 70s, you'd go on Harinam and the people would just go, Huh? Interesting thing, over time, they become purified. So in the beginning, go away, you Hare Krishna is always making this disturbance, right? Then the devotees didn't go down. We concentrated on book distribution. And so then people saying, why aren't you chanting anymore? We used to like the chanting. First they didn't like it, but then they got used to it, purified, right? And then we stopped chanting, so they're saying, what happened to the Hare Krishnas? Huh? Why don't you come back and chant? We like that, chanting. So again, association of the devotees, but in a purely spiritual way, because we go and chant Hare Krishna, we're getting purified also, following Lord Chaitanya. Lord Chaitanya, Krishna himself has appeared as a devotee, right? So when we go on Sankirtan, we're not only following Krishna's instructions, we're also following the instructions of a devotee, because Krishna's appeared as a devotee. So this point about rendering service to the devotees, so important. And a very simple rendering of service is the chanting of Hare Krishna. Most simple, but extremely powerful. Extremely powerful. Purifies us, and we experience that, what is it? Anandam Buddhi Vardhanam. Anandam Buddhi Vardhanam. It increases Vardhana. We have Ananda Vardhana. You know Ananda Vardhana? Ananda Vardhana. He's a very blissful devotee, Ananda Vardhana. Right? So Ananda Vardhana means increases Ananda. Right? and one of his characteristics is he has a very nice service attitude, right? Service mood, Ananda Vardhana. Pratipatam Purnamritas Vardhanam. It increases the ocean of Ananda, right? This is a quality of bhakti. It increases pleasure, bliss, enjoyment. Highly recommend it. Go on Harinam. Right? And you know, if we want to to influence the city of Melbourne, anywhere, forget about Melbourne. No, don't forget about Melbourne because we live in Melbourne. But Moscow, London, you name it. If the Hare Krishna movement is to have an impact, it's easy, actually. It's not hard. What is hard is our, it's too hard, I can't do it. Right? Mental platform. We're bound up in our mental, confines, if you like, restrictions. But anybody can chant Hare Krishna. And this is how, when you think about it, this is the Hare Krishna explosion started because devotees followed Prabhupada's instruction and they just went out on the street and chanted Hare Krishna. And people came. Right? Because they got the association of the devotees, they heard the holy name, just like Narada Muni. Hiranyakashipu heard the holy name. Well, it disturbed him, but he got the most exalted son, right? Right? This is the potency of the association of the devotees. And with that association comes the chanting of Hare Krishna in the Kali Yuga, right? Good for us, right? Sarvatma snapanam, right? It purifies everybody. It's like taking a bath. Hearing the chanting of Hare Krishna is like taking a bath. Param vijayate Sri Krishna Sankirtanam. Right? So, the benefit of the association of the devotees is that we get to chant Hare Krishna. And the benefit of chanting Hare Krishna is that we can, because we have our japa, but also the instruction of Lord Chaitanya and the example given by Lord Chaitanya is that in order to purify ourselves, but also to give others the opportunity for purification and the association of the devotees, we go out and chant. It is not very difficult, right? And just by that, good for us, good for everybody, and by that association, then others are attracted to Krishna. The demons will get upset, but gradually they'll get purified. So they'll be saying, initially they'll say, what are you doing making so much noise? Go away, right? But after a while, they'll be tapping their feet. You see it sometimes. You go on Harinam and there'll be just a little child, right, standing, and they just start dancing spontaneously, right? And then everybody's smiling, right? Everybody's smiling. And you see, the funny thing is, everybody knows what's going on too, right? The Hare Krishnas are here and they're purifying us. And everybody's happy, right? Anandam Buddhivardhanam, right? It's in Anandam Buddhivardhanam. It's increasing the ecstasy of everybody. So this inclination, matiya, the inclination that Hiranyakashipu is calling, asat, right? Actually it's sat. And abhadra, actually no, it's bhadra. It's auspicious and it's fulfilling, satisfying, right? Sat. Right? Interesting. Sat is in satisfying. Right? Satisfaction. Sat. There's interesting, the other day there's a word that we were talking about is creator, right? Which means the doer, right? But isn't it interesting, we have the word creator, which is the name for God, right? Creator. It's the same sounding word, interestingly enough. So anyway, Matirna Krishna, that inclination to serve Krishna doesn't arise in a materialistic people unless or until they get the association of the devotees. And best way to do that is to just chant Hare Krishna. Not too much philosophy in the beginning, right? The philosophy is there in the practice of chanting. That's it. We don't have to explain all the details and confuse people, right? But just let them hear the chanting of Hare Krishna, right? Let them taste prasad, right? And certainly we should be philosophically astute. We should know the philosophy, certainly the basics. But at the same time, if we want to change the hearts of others, then often it's just example is sufficient. Why Krishna warns us, don't disturb the minds of the ignorant. We'll already be disturbing them by chanting Hare Krishna in any case, right? But they'll take it, right? It's involuntary devotional service, right? But it's devotional service, very powerful. The chanting of the holy name and the association of the devotees. And in that way then we'll just expand the community of devotees. It'll get pretty interesting, because we'll attract all sorts of people from all walks of life. But that's what's going to happen. It's happening, but we could speed it up if we got out and did more Harinam. Okay, I'm going to finish here. Grantaraj Śrīmad Bhāgavatam ki jai. Any comments or questions? So,
Hare Krishna.
You just happen to have the microphone.
Yeah.
Okay.
So back in the days when you joined the temple, did the devotees go on the street every day?
When I joined, we went on the street every day. Every day. But I'll tell you the story. The devotees had somehow come up with this idea that if Korma went to jail because of his unpaid fines, he would go on a hunger fast, right? Hunger strike. And the publicity for us would be good, right? It's pretty bizarre. Well, at least I thought it was bizarre, because I came from Adelaide and moved into the ashram here, and every day I'd hear Bhaktivedanta convincing Korma, yeah, we should do this. This is a really good idea. Right? Devotees were actually quite entrepreneurial, right? Now, Bhaktivedanta was quite a famous television actor. There was a show, now I can't remember the name of it, but it was a very popular comedy show on the evenings, and Bhaktivedanta was the main actor, right? And of course he gave up his acting career to become a devotee, right? And keep in mind, you know, the 70s, the internet of the 70s was radio and television, right? This is how information was spread around the globe, practically speaking. And what the youth of the 70s discovered was, especially in the protests against the Vietnam War, was that you could go downtown in the daytime at lunchtime and have a demonstration and then go home at night and watch yourself on television on the 7 o'clock news, right? So it was a powerful medium, right? So they understood this. They understood so somehow, and there had been conflict with the council about the devotees chanting Hare Krishna, and even there's statements in the Bhagavatam and in the Chaitanya Charitamrita where Prabhupada says the devotees in Melbourne are being put in jail for chanting, right? So the devotees knew that this would generate publicity, right? Yeah. So, and somehow, I don't know how, it wouldn't hurt to investigate because it'd make an interesting story. It is an interesting story. How the devotees knew that Korma was going to be busted, right, on the street. And so the devotees knew this, and so they lined up the television stations to be there when Korma was going to be arrested. I don't know how this happened. I don't know. I should find out. And I arrived in Melbourne, and I was puzzled. Why are they trying to get Korma to go to jail? Well, this is just stupid. At least from my small, corner of the universe. And so every day at lunchtime, we'd hop in a van, and Sankirtan van, and go downtown, and there'd be half a dozen or 10 or dozen devotees chanting Hare Krishna, right? Every day. So that was and chanting Hare Krishna like that's really helpful, because you have to get off the bodily concept of life, right? Just got to get into the chanting and not worry about what people are thinking about you, or what they say, because people would be rude. They might even hit you. I've been on Harinam and people have come along and just... Actually, the first Harinam that I went on in Adelaide was it was September, the Adelaide show. So we went to the Wayville showgrounds to have a Harinam, and there's thousands of people there, right? But we just started... We'd only been chanting for a few minutes. And I remember we were walking down the street to Goodwood Road is on one of the perimeters of the Wayville Showgrounds. We were walking down the side street to come to Goodwood Road, and then we were going to go up and down Goodwood Road. But we didn't get to Goodwood Road. There were guys on the other side of the fence, and they were all... And I was thinking, whoa. And then this fella came along and just punched Kripacara, whacked Janmi Jaya, rolled him into the gutter, and I was next. And I'm thinking, I joined Hare Krishnas because I thought it was love and peace, right? And here we are, we're in a fight. And then all of a sudden the police just turned up, grabbed this guy. I thought I was next in the firing line. And the coppers just came along and picked this guy up. And that was the end of the Harinam party. Kripakara had been assaulted, Jammi Jaya had been assaulted. The police obviously had to, do interviews. And so that was my introduction to Harinam. And then, so I arrive in Melbourne, And what do? We're going on Hare Nam, and I'm thinking, oh, okay. But it's purified because you have to absorb yourself in the chanting of Hare Krishna. Of course, when one becomes deeply absorbed in the holy name, then the material, everything else just evaporates. It just dissolves. No? And of course, when the devotees are absorbed in chanting, and it's pleasing to Krishna, so it's pleasing to us, then that mood also emanates into, it affects the others that are there. And Korma is a great kirtan leader. Right? Korma he's a rocker. I don't know if you know what. His kirtans rock. There are some, that are just, he can do that too. But Korma's a really engaging personality and a really good kirtan leader. So my early weeks in Krishna consciousness were going out every day with Korma leading the kirtan. And, basically you get transported out of the material world into the spiritual world. Right? It's that easy. Right? Of course, you've got to do it. That's not so easy. Right? Bald heads, wearing sheets, So I was a long-haired hippie with, jeans is what I wore. That was the uniform. So a little bit challenging, right? A little bit challenging. But once you get over the initial obstacles and become absorbed in the meditation and the practice of chanting Hare Krishna, then you're out of the material world. So yes, every day we were chanting Hare Krishna. I think somebody else over here had their hand up too, but Prabhuji.
Okay, Hare Krishna, Prabhu. So, chanting holy name and Mahanam, even if we look at the 8 verses by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
Yes, Shikshastikam.
Yeah, Shikshastikam.
I was quoting the first.
Yeah, so
yes.
First verse is very glorious. But if you look at the other verses, one verse is that, Hey Prabhu, Hey Krishna. So you have put all your energy, all your attraction.
Nam makari bahudaha nija sarva shakti.
Yeah. But it is my unfortunate fate or inclination, durudaibo, that I don't have the inclination or the taste.
Attraction.
Yeah.
Yes.
So when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he is himself this Godhead, he has lamenting like that.
Yes.
How do you say that the common people can develop the taste in Hare Krishna Mahamantra so quickly? Well, and another comment I want to make, there's another verse is very...
Let's answer that question first.
Yeah, no, let me finish the other one too.
There's 2 questions.
Forget. Yeah. It's linked each
cheating.
other. Yeah, not cheating, it's linked.
Okay, linked.
It's very popular in Bengal.
In Bengal.
It is a very Bengali proverb that to attract non-devotees or demonic character people, this very nice, interesting, contradicting statement like that, similar. One is that...
Contradictions in Bengal?
I'm saying, simply let me finish. That is saying that the magur mas's jhol, there's one kind of this, the fish, catfish. Catfish is very popular in Bengal.
Unfortunately, yes.
The curry of catfish is very good. Then Juboti Nari Kol, what does it mean? That the lap of young ladies, equally attractive.
Okay, so say that, what's the saying?
First one is that Magur Mas's jhol, That means the curry of the catfish. So, in Bengal, we call that mache bhate Bangali. That means the rice and fish is our main food. Because so many rivers of network. Okay. Then the second one is saying that Juboti Narir Kol. That means the association of the beautiful young ladies. That equally association of beautiful young ladies.
I didn't.
Beautiful young ladies.
Of
Beautiful ladies.
Women.
Yeah, okay, it's starting to get even worse. But go on.
Yeah.
Catfish, now beautiful ladies.
Yeah.
Catfish and rice and beautiful ladies.
Yeah. So we
There
are
must be another.
Yeah,
something else.
We are
that's missing.
we are offering this kind of thing to the demonic people.
Yeah.
But say Hare Krishna Hare Bol. So last one is that Bolo Hare Krishna Hare Bol. So we'll offer you the catfish curry. We offer you the association of young beautiful ladies, but say Hare Krishna Hare Bol.
Chant Hare Krishna.
Okay, so that's the way that this Mahaprabhu wants to attract the demonic people. So that's very interesting proverb. Thank you.
I have to admit,
you now
I've not heard that before. And I'm not sure how that's relevant. Okay. Okay. Lord Chaitanya is in the Sikshastika is illustrating or is demonstrating the mood of a devotee, and especially in the advancement of prema, of Krishna prema, right? So that nam namakari bahu dahani jashava shaktis, that I have no attraction to the chanting of the holy name, is indicative of a mood or of an approach that the devotee has in when they're advancing in Krishna consciousness. When we're chanting Hare Krishna with the right mood, what is it? The previous verse, Trinada Pisunichena Tororiva Suhishnuna Amanadena Kirtaniya Sadahari, that the proper mood of one who wants to enter into this Anandam Buddhivardhanam Pratipanam Punam Ritasvadanam, into that nectar of chant, has to become humble, right? And respectful to others without expecting respect for themselves. And then in that mood, one realizes one's lack of qualification in chanting. And so that's, Lord Chaitanya is illustrating or demonstrating the progression of the mood of a devotee. And of course it gets deeper as we enter into the 8 verses of the Sikshastikam. So we don't offer unmentionables and enticements, material enticements to others so that they'll chant Hare Krishna. We don't need to, because when we chant Hare Krishna, it's already Anandam Buddhi. It's already an ocean of bliss, actually. Right? The chanting of Hare Krishna, when performed in that mood of humility and surrender, and with the realization that actually I'm not qualified to chant, right? I have so many attractions for other things, right? But somehow, by Prabhupada's mercy and by the mercy of the devotees and by Lord Chaitanya's mercy, I have an opportunity to chant. And in that chanting, I experience great bliss, right? This is what happens. This is why the devotees are all looking happy when they're chanting, and why everybody else is becoming happy too. So we're not qualified. We know that. But Lord Chaitanya is described as the Mahavadanyaya. Namo Mahavadanyaya. I offer my respects to the most munificent Why? Because Krishna Prema Pradayate. He's giving away Krishna Prema freely to everybody through the chanting of Hare Krishna. This is his, it's like a taster, right? Taster. You know, you go to, anybody go to Maya? Yep. David Jones? What do they have on the first floor? What's on the first floor of David Jones and Maya? Perfume. Yeah. Ladies know. Huh? And what do? You walk down there and they'll give you a... Woo. They give you a free taste. Right? But what's that? That's just to suck you in. Right? And it works. I know it works. Huh? Different. I know. If you fly, and especially if you fly business class, then what the airlines do is, in your little package that you get, they'll give you a sampler. Huh? And so you put it on, the oil, you can, some oil for your hands or some spray. You go, that's good. I think I'll buy that. Right? So this is how Lord Chaitanya works. He gives everybody the ananda from the chanting. Everybody gets it. And they think, ooh, that's nice. I'd like to get some of that. Right? But of course, you know, when you purchase the full, you know, when you purchase a perfume, you look at the price, it's like, whoa, that's expensive. Right? But, ooh, I like it. Right? So Lord Chaitanya is giving that anandam freely. Right? Krishna Prema is giving freely. And we're not qualified. They're not qualified. But because it's so attractive, Krishna and Krishna's holy name are so enticing that we're attracted just by that chanting of Hare Krishna. So we don't have to give this, that or the other thing. We just give the real thing, which is the Maha Mantra. And, you know, there's a funny story. There's a devotee called Giridhari Rupa, Prabhupada disciple. He used to work in a fruit and veg shop. And when the devotees came down the street, he used to throw rotten vegetables at them. Right? Didn't like them. But what happened? Eventually he became a devotee. Hare Krishnas, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Right? And we see it, you know, in the 70s we'd go on Harinam and the people would come running towards us, jumping up and down and want to have a fight. Right? These days you see somebody running towards you and you think, whoa, what's going on here? But then the guy just jumps into kirtan and starts chanting and dancing with you. Whoa, okay. So, you know, people get purified just by the chanting Hare Krishna. And that's our sampler, right? The sampler is just giving the chanting. People hear it and they think, ooh, that's nice. Right? Or they think, that's odd. Depends on where their sukriti or their state of, you know, consciousness and the level of purification at that point. But the more they're exposed to the chanting, the more purified they become. Because they're doing bhakti. Right? Bhakti. And very Lord Chaitanya's mercy. Okay, Grantaraj Śrīmad Bhāgavatam ki jai, Śrīla Prabhupada ki jai, Gaura Bhaktivinoda ki jai. Hare Krishna.